Hey guys, it's David here, and I'm very excited today to do an entertainment review, something I haven't done for a hot second, to say the least, but when Lady Gaga blessed us with her brand new album, Joanne, there was no option but for me to gush to you with the passionate feelings that I've had. If you've not yet heard the album in its entirety, if you've just heard Perfect Illusion, which was the first single, or maybe also Million Reasons, which was the second, please reserve your judgment until you listen to the album as a whole. I know that Perfect Illusion received kind of mixed feedback. I really liked the song, but I was also keeping in mind that Gaga chose it as a lead single and that it was representing the album more sonically than in regards to the most complex writing on the album. Honestly, the biggest and possibly the only criticism that I have about Joanne was that Gaga chose a traditional singles-based release for the album. I would have liked her to just share the entire album all at once. I think that it's way better to consume it as a body of work. I think that's how she put it together. And that doesn't even mean like do a Beyonce and do a surprise release. It could have just been a set date for a planned full album release so that people would be able to consume the whole thing without having the hype or the judgment associated with lead singles. You know, it makes me wonder what an independent Gaga would have done for this release separate from a music label, because the album doesn't seem to cater to the single-heavy music industry at all. Anyway, release tangent aside, I will get to the actual music on the album. I have been binging on Gaga's interviews. Whenever she releases an album, she's so generous with her time. She has all these like 50-minute long radio interviews, and she's so candid and transparent about her concept for the album. She's so smart and put together and knowledgeable about where she stands and her point of view as a music artist that she just doesn't really care to cover up a lot of things anymore. She's very comfortable stating her opinion, and I agree with basically all of them. I have to say, in the pop industry, she's got to be one of the pop stars I identify with most. Her vocal performance on the album is killer. That's no surprise to anybody. She's improved so much through her career, and especially these past few years, doing jazz, doing stuff like the Sound of Music tribute at the Oscars. She's been building her instrument and really disciplined about pushing her voice. Some of my favorite tracks on the album are Diamond Heart. I think is an incredible opener. I think it sets the tone really strongly. The title Diamond Heart is self-explanatory. It is a song of strength. She sounds so powerful in it. Her vocals are strong. I love the lyrics. I think that it's unapologetic, like this entire album actually. Like Rihanna, take that unapologetic album title and walk, because this is really what unapologetic is about. Dancing in Circles is another favorite of mine. It's got like that kind of vibe of Teeth and Americano, but just like more mid-tempo and gritty. I think that basically for this album, if you're gonna choose like the dance bop of this album, this is how Joanne Gaga does dance tracks. Dancing in Circles is like a solid, mature, mid-tempo samba beat dance track, and I'm here for it, 100%. I love the duet that Gaga does with Florence Welch, Hey Girl. I think it's really refreshing to hear a pop duet that wasn't, you know, one person recorded it in LA and then the other one sent in their track from New York and they just like blended the vocals together and whatever and somebody else wrote it. It's like these girls were in the studio together, they're trading back and forth with the verses, with the choruses. It's a true duet, which honestly, you don't hear that much in pop music these days. And the fact that it's sung by two women, two killer vocalists at that, singing about like females supporting each other, what's not to love? Angel Down is a heartbreaking closing track to the original album track list, and it's really just well crafted. I got the image in my head, I don't know why, but of Ave Maria at the end of the original Fantasia movie. It's the sequence where there's a procession walking with candle lights through the night. I mean, it's a song of mourning, so it makes sense that I would get that image, but there's something about that very, you know, polished execution, and it's just honest and deep and raw. There's an elegance to it. And I would say the last track of my early favorites, because I'm sure that these will change as I continue to listen to the album, but Joanne, the title track, it's a masterpiece. It's perfectly written to be the title track of the album. It really represents the sound and the heart of this music, and I just think it's a really well done, well performed song. Other notable mentions include Ayo, which is, I guess, like a third Buzz single. She put it up before the rest of the album. It's giving me like Manicure vibes, but with live instruments. It has like the same kind of clap beat as Manicure, so I think it's fun. John Wayne is very fun. It gives me kind of like the Alejandro sass. Her screaming at the beginning about the damn horse escalates so quickly. You're just like, she's calm, and then it goes from like 0 to infinity because That shouting, that grit, that passion is something only Gaga is capable of. Million Reasons is a strong, simple ballad. It's very clear in its messaging. It's very powerful. Her vocal, again, fantastic. I love Sinner's Prayer. That could also be a favorite of mine. I just think it's pretty transparent as a song. She's admitting that she sins like we all do, and we're all imperfect human beings, and she's just saying, like, take me as I am, who I was meant to be, and if you give a damn, take me, baby, or leave me. But in her words, Come to Mama is fun, not my favorite track on the album, probably. Also, fun fact, it reminds me a lot of Sarah Bareilles' Gonna Get Over You, and it's in the same key. I looked it up and I was just like, damn, these are, somebody can match those up pretty easily, I'm sure. Ooh, also another note about Hey Girl, the duet with Florence Welch. It reminds me of Benny and the Jets. Just the kind of synth groove reminds me of Benny and the Jets. And then we've got 3 bonus tracks on the deluxe version. There's Just Another Day, which I think pretty clearly communicates some The Fame vibes, some throwback Gaga sounds. It's like AA meets Brown Eyes meets retro dance freak, but with more acoustic instruments, obviously, except for that synth, which is giving me throwback Gaga vibes. And she, I could have imagined her singing this song back at the bitter end in 2006, and it being just part of her old set list. So I'm glad that she threw this in. Greet You Girls is fun. Again, it's not my favorite, but I know that from listening to all these interviews, it was one of the songs that really kind of solidified her Joanne identity, if you will, and coming up with that name for the album, realizing that this Joanne character is her. I'm not going to explain it nearly as well as she does, so if you are curious, just look up any of her radio interviews. The way that she talks about this album's concept, oh my god, I can't, and it just feels like such an important moment for her and her family, and I'm totally indulging in her, PR about this album, but it's also a human being who is an artist who's putting this together, and just because she's super famous and has a huge fan base, that doesn't mean that she's not putting this together for her too. So I'm going to choose to indulge and believe in that and not think it's all marketing, because that makes me feel happy, satisfied, and fulfilled with consuming this art, which, to be frank, is just objectively really great music. And that leaves me with the Angel Down work tape, which she includes at the end as the final bonus track. This is such a gift from her. She didn't throw this up on SoundCloud 3 months later. She didn't hide it away in a vault. She puts it out there because it shows the true artist that she is as a vocalist, as a musician. It's a heartbreaking song on the album, and this raw vocal gives me every bit of life I have ever needed. Anybody who I've been recommending the album to, I tell them to listen to this work tape before any of the other tracks, because I think that it gives a really good impression of where Gaga was at when she recorded and wrote this album. I think it really showcases her vocal talent, obviously, and it's just a great raw look at a really passionate performer delivering a strong, poignant message. So if you haven't heard any of the album, start with the work tape of Angel Down and then listen all the way through and give it a chance as a full body of work, because Perfect Illusion as a single, again, liked it, but that's not the whole album. That is one 3-minute song. Anyway, I've got to go. The sun is setting, which is why I've gotten progressively darker throughout this review, but I am very excited to be stating passionate opinions about pop music. I love when I get this hyped up about an album and I can share it with you guys. I hope that y'all enjoyed this review. Let me know in the comments if you agreed with anything I said, if you completely disagreed with anything I said. It's all up to you. I'm really open to hearing opinions in the comments and discussing. That's my favorite part about doing these videos. So don't be a stranger, type something out, and make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you will, and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you'll get updated every time I post a new video. While you're at it, if you're one of those people who were not subscribed, I've also reviewed music videos and awards shows and all sorts of stuff. I've got a lot of opinions about pop culture. So if you enjoyed this, then check those out too. And other than that, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Okay, bye. Something I forgot about Just Another Day, the bonus track, the second one. She introduces Brian Newman on the trumpet, and I think that is very classy of her to do that in a studio setting where it's a very live thing to be give it up for Brian Newman, but she's just giving some credit to her pals. These producers in pop music today have to slap an ugly audio label on everything they produce just so that you can have an audio credit. It's what if some of these pop stars were give it up for Diplo, he produced my track, yes!